Big changes are about to happen. Google lost the monopoly lawsuit. The only surprising thing here is that it didn't happen sooner.
Bozo, Google lost the monopoly lawsuit. I did see this. Yes, this is a huge positive. Massive positive. Take a look at this.
Yesterday,
Well, to be fair, technically it's a positive, but if you're a YouTuber, that kind of is a little bit scary, because that could mean ad rates going down tremendously. That could mean a lot of things.
big tech changed forever after Google lost the most important legal battle of its life, a fight against the U.S. Department of Justice that started back in 2020, claiming that Google violated U.S. antitrust law and cheated at monopoly. The government called Google a filthy monopolist who used illegal...
Wait, was this just a bit to actually try and gain more control over what Google does? I mean, what do they want more? You Google Trump, you find Kamala Harris, okay? Google can't play even more ball than that, honestly, at this point.
monopolist who used illegal tactics to crush the competition and stifle innovation. Google's lawyers clapped back and said that was outrageous and salacious, but the judge agreed with the feds.
Guilty.
I mean, there's no way no one agrees with that, okay? This is the most open secret that has ever been.
And just like Standard Oil and the American Tobacco Company, Google is now officially required to wear the illegal monopoly dunce cap. But everyone cheats at monopoly. Apple...
Yeah, we know what happened to all of those things. They got split into splinters, and guess what? They still act as one in a lot of cases.
Amazon, and Meta are also fighting active antitrust cases. In today's video, we'll find out what these cases are all about, why Google lost its fight, but most importantly, what does this mean for the future of big tech, and how do I get rich off of it? It is August 6, 2024, and you're watching The Code Report. Things used to be a lot different back in the 90s.
Holy shit, man. Take me back to middle school.
Thank God this was not my middle school. Well, you know, a bit, a bit.
Yep. Bro, this one in the middle definitely 100% could have been me. I even had spiky hair like that in 7th grade.
Thankfully, mental illness was not so far spread outside of the U.S. at that time. It was a different time.
Holy fuck. That's nuts. Wow.
90s. Horses were still the primary mode of transportation, hemp was legal, and Coca-Cola still had cocaine in it. But 1890 was also the year the Sherman Act was passed, a law at the time that was
I've heard that. I don't remember what it does, though.
targeted at big oil, big tobacco, and big railroad to prevent anti-competitive activities that made it impossible for competitors to enter the market. Google broke Section 2 of the Sherman Act, which has two provisions: the possession of monopoly power and willful acquisition or maintenance of that power that's not a consequence of a superior product. In other words, to break the law, you need to both dominate the market and do so in ways outside of building a better product.
Google does that plenty. Again, the fact that there's so many things you need to actually agree and let Google do to be on Google in the first place. It's insane.
Right, that's right. Because the first thing, and the reason why this happens is simple. It's like if you're running a business, the worst thing for you is competition. Like, because now you got to worry about...
Tell me more, Master Guru. Okay, tell me more about this magic concept of competition that no one has ever heard about.
What they're selling, you've got to make sure that you're lower than theirs. Their stuff isn't better than yours. That's stressful, so you got to shut them down. You got to either buy them out, like blow up the building, like you know, fucking get them arrested, something. Like you got to get rid of them, one way or another. True. Yep.
controls 88% of the domestic search market, and I think most people agree.
It's so little, actually. I thought it was near 100. Does this count as Bing being the main search engine for some kind of OS or whatever, and then the old people just don't know what Google is, and they never change it?
Agree that Google has a superior product. I get way better results from it than Lycos or Excite, and its AI no longer...
Well, to be fair, that's the thing. Google's search engine is not actually a superior product to a lot of things nowadays. How many of you can easily say that, yeah, Google search results have become absolute crap in the past 3 to 4 years? I could say that. There was a time when I didn't need to click on a single link. That's because Google wanted to give you the stuff, but then they understood, wait a minute, can't add ads too much to this if, we actually just give you the solution instantaneously. So they actually made Google search first. There was a time where every single thing that you wanted to Google was, you don't need to click anywhere, it's just the first piece of text right there in front of you, and that's your answer. But Google changed that because, well, reasons.
Longer recommends I jump off the Golden Gate Bridge when I'm feeling sad. But
I think Google's results have deteriorated in the past 7 years. Google used to be the best product.
I mean, honestly, yeah, you might as well. But I wouldn't say that it has been super bad for that long of time, but I think the past 2 to 4 years, most people are gonna easily agree that Google search has become trash tier.
It was insanely good. There's a reason why Simpsons was making videos of Google taking over the world in the early 2000s. It's because Google was amazing.
Got into trouble with its exclusivity deals, like when it requires its search engine to be the default on Android devices, its deal with the Mozilla Firefox browser, and its insane deal with Apple where it pays them 36% of search revenue to the tune of $20 billion per year. Basically, the judge said these deals were anti-competitive, and now Google will not pass go and will not collect.
Yeah, that is definitely anti-competitor because you just make it like that.
Like $200. Well, actually, we don't really know what the penalty is yet, and that's to be continued in a separate trial.
Yeah, they're going to figure that shit out. No, I think this is what's happening. And overall, like, this is the same shit that I said with Twitter, right? Is like this antitrust stuff, there's a reason why we have rules for this. Because if you go back and you look at in the early 1900s or the 1890s, whenever this first started happening, look at what happened right before then. Well, there's all kinds of like fucking robber baron shit, people having all kinds of scams. Like basically all you have to do in order to understand what kind of scams they had going back then is look at how the scams work with crypto right now, and then think about how could you have done that with oil? How could you have done that with land? And
I'm so confused. What does this have to do with Twitter?
Then that's what we used to do. And that's why there's rules against it.
It'll be like what JFK said right before he went to Dallas, to shatter Google into 1,000 pieces and scatter it into the winds. It is possible Google could be broken up into multiple different
By the way, that's right after that's right before he got shot.
Entities, like maybe it has to divest Gmail and Android, but the tricky thing about Google is that its search business makes so much money, it's able to subsidize these free projects like Gmail and Android. If Gmail were on its own, we'd probably have to pay $10 a month to use it. But if you talk to someone like Microsoft, who was accused of being a monopoly back in 2001, things might not be so bad. A more likely outcome is that Google faces some kind of fine and then contractual restrictions on these deals.
They have to pay like $20 million.
And that could actually be a good thing for Google because then Apple can't rake in cash while doing absolutely nothing of value except maintain its own monopoly. Speaking of which, Apple is also being sued by the US Department of Justice for maintaining a monopoly.
Apple also does a lot of egregious stuff.
People will defend Apple's walled garden to their death, but the feds
I don't understand why people defend Apple. I really don't. Like, I can understand, like, the iPhone is basically an Android. Like I've used iPhones before. It's pretty much the same thing. It's not like it's like this.
No, I don't have an iPhone, but I know people who switch to Apple and whatnot. Apple, though, I don't think they're gonna. Well, maybe they're doing something that I don't know. They're probably every company is doing something illegal. Okay, that's just the way of life. And most people don't know it's illegal, so it makes it fine. That's also a way of life. But no. Listen, there is a substantial difference between Apple and iPhone. You know what's that difference is? iPhone. No, let's stop. Is iPhone Apple? Whatever. Let's look at Android. Android is currently looking over the direction of Apple and trying to copy everything that they are doing. Apple, though, on the other hand, is currently not looking in any direction, and they're just thinking, how can we make this better for our users? That is unironically what Apple does. People who use Apple, the Apple phone, and people who don't use it, all like it much better because it is so much easier, self-explanatory to understand. It's so much friendlier to the user. That is what everyone who starts using this phone starts saying. Apple is a type of monopoly because it's actually the best, and they are trying to innovate constantly. The next big breakthrough in phones, 9 out of 10 times is gonna come from Apple figuring out some magical thing, like for example that saying "Durr" actually means open up the closest map to the pizza shop.
It's a huge difference. What is this? It's overpriced. Yeah, it's like a status symbol.
Also a status symbol.
That Apple
yes.
is actually tricking you by using things like privacy as an elastic shield to justify abusive business practices, among many other things. Apple also got into trouble with
But Apple actually has the privacy thing taken seriously.
the EU and was required to open its payment service to competitors like Epic Games, and now Fortnite is finally coming back.
Which is a huge fucking W. By the way, this is a massive W. Because, like, I don't think
This is not a massive W, you absolute brainless muppet. Fortnite is literally making how much money, and they got pissed that Apple is taking too big of a share of their money. And then they launched a campaign trying to say, oh, Apple is Hitler for not allowing us to take more money. That's what it was.
think people really seem to realize what happens when 5 companies control the internet. This is
But you live in that time, dumbass.
extremely fucking dangerous. Because keep in mind, all of these companies don't have any allegiance to whatever country you live in. They don't care about your country. If the company
All of these companies are subverted, for example, to the CIA for the most part. They say what is gonna be done. Otherwise, well, you know how very strangely every single person that the CIA busts has some kind of bad under the age of 18 stuff on their hard drives or whatnot. Well, let's just say it's not there by accident, but by the design of a certain three-letter organization. Okay, the CIA can ruin your life 50 ways until sunset. Ask JFK.
could have every single person in your country killed and the company would make more money, guess what would happen? That's it. They don't give a fuck about you.
Now that was the extreme end. I think even Jeff Bezos, while beating up the fifth stewardess this week on his private jet, actually cares more about people than he just said.
Back to the App Store, but Meta is also facing a lawsuit for monopolizing the social media space with anti-competitive acquisitions like Instagram and WhatsApp. Then Amazon is also fighting its own monopoly battle, where it's accused of taking advantage of its sellers with anti-discounting measures.
Yeah, Amazon is completely fucked on this aspect. Because Amazon's business practice is no longer actually selling stuff and gaining a profit. It's getting you to be a Netflix it's the same as you becoming a Netflix subscriber. Amazon cares about the subscriptions that you do, about all of that stuff. They don't actually want to even profit too much on the stuff that they're selling. And when your business practice of selling stuff online no longer entices you actually needing to make a profit off of selling that stuff, well, no one is gonna ever beat your margins on sales. AKA, they are literally forcing everyone out the market because they're always gonna have the cheapest deals. They're always gonna have that. And, you know, Jeff Bezos, when he started, that's how he acquired the audiobook thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Amazon is keenly aware of the practice of selling things even at a loss, because they have done this in the past, to destroy competitors because they can outlast them. And this is why monopolies are bad.
And contracts that favor its own products. Now, if any of this comes as a shock to you,
and you see this happen all the time, like with Amazon when you search for something and the top 3 results are like, this is not the most popular thing, this is something that's an advertisement, or it's the Amazon product instead, it is exhausting, bro. Reason Big Pharma doesn't want to cure you? Yeah.
It's time to wake up. You don't become a trillion-dollar tech company by not being evil.
That's right.
It's a brutal, cutthroat game.
They got rid of this, by the way. They used to have a logo that said "Don't be evil."
Yeah,
I think they got rid of it.
the...
What was it in like 2015 or 16?
Yeah.
That's smart.
Brutal, cutthroat game. As a tech company, you either go bankrupt as a hero or live long enough to...
By the way, Twitter also is technically a monopoly, but that's going to be a little bit more funny because every mainstream media source is kind of really desperate to tell you that Twitter's actually complete trash and it's dying and no one actually uses it. So, ironically, Elon Musk and Twitter are safe from of a lawsuit like this unless there's already one happening. But I don't know about that, if that's happening. But they're kind of safe against that because, you know, all of your CNNs, all of your MSNs and all of those stupid things that tell you that Twitter is not a monopoly, no one uses it, and it's already dead. So that's going to be kind of funny.
Become an illegal monopoly. This has been the Code Report. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Yep, there it is. Right when they turned evil, exactly as maximizing profit evil. Well,
no.
Yeah, it could be.
The answer is no unless you try to maximize profit by doing crazy stuff. And by default, maximizing profit does not actually imply that you're going to do crazy stuff. That's what just currently kind of happens a lot.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely it could be. Everybody knows that. Now, is it always evil? No, it's not always evil. That's not the point. Yeah, be evil for more profit. Yeah. At the expense of humanity, yes. Well, I don't know. They thought they should just be nice. Are they real humans? No, not anymore. All public companies put profit over everything else. They do. And so...
some companies don't. Apple, again, I don't, by the way, I don't use any Apple products, but Apple kind of actually makes... Apple does kind of do some things that seriously actually try and be, you know, good for the consumer with data protection and all of that garbage. But, yeah, anyway. That was Asmongold, Bold, Pigeon Man. Anyway, at least there was no cockroach flying around his room. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.